Good evening, Shabbat Shalom. It's so wonderful to be with you tonight. We're very excited about Shabbat. And we're also very excited about our installation tonight of our cantor, Toby Glaser. So just a couple words of introduction. About 25 years ago, when things were very different around here, much different than they are now, I had a conversation with someone about a cantor, and that person said to me, Rodef Shalom will never have a cantor. Well, friends, welcome to never. It's so great to be in never. It is a joy for sure to install the first ever full-time ordained cantor at Rodef Shalom, but it is a particular delight to install cantor Toby Glaser as our cantor. Cantor Glaser is all the things we knew we needed. A full clergy person who would be a dynamic congregational leader, a gifted musician with a wonderful big voice, a dynamic prayer leader, and a caring and thoughtful human being. He also brings characteristics and skills that we didn't even know we needed, but we are so blessed to have found. Cantor Glaser is a serious scholar of Jewish music with an appreciation for and ability to sing all types of music. He is funny and compassionate and wise. Cantor Glaser has a remarkably clear and helpful understanding of the realities of Jewish communal life and a fervent desire to serve Jews in a meaningful and inspiring manner. I love the way we are dancing and tapping our toes to the beat of his drum, and Cantor Glaser has even managed to get even the most stoic among us to clap once or twice. Any of you who grew up here or have been here for a few years knows that that drum and this particular cantor are two of the things we didn't know we needed, but we absolutely did. Cantor Glaser is a gracious and generous clergy partner to me. He teaches me something nearly every day. Don McGahan, our brilliant accompanist, is delighted to work with Cantor Glaser, and Don observed that everything that we have done up until now, and our history is rich and varied, everything we've done up until now has led us to today. There is respect and admiration among the three of us, and there is holiness. Having a cantor allows us to pray and sing in new and wonderful ways. So Hava Nashira, let's sing. Page 339.
Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. sing. Come let us sing. Come let us sing. Come let us sing. Havana Shira. Come let us sing. Come let us sing. Come let us sing. Havana Shira. Havana Shira. Havana Shira. Havana Shira. Let us sing. Havana Shira. Havana Shira. Havana Shira. Let us sing.
Come let us sing.
Come let us sing.
Come let us sing.
Come let us sing, let us sing, Havana Shira. Come let us sing,
Come let us sing.
let us sing, let us sing, Havana Shira. Havana Shira, Havana Shira, Havana Shira. Let us sing, Havana Shira, Havana Shira. Havana Shira, let us sing.
It's my privilege and my honor to invite Rabbi Benjamin Spratt and Cantor Shana Delmo to light candles. Page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
We'll turn to page 12 for beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat. On page 12, the beginning of Psalm 95, Lechu Neranana.
Lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, nadia letzor yeshenu. Lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, nadia letzor yeshenu. Nekadma fanav betoda, bizmirod naria lo. Gadol Adonai, O Melech Gadol al kol Elohim. Lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu, lechu, lechu neranena, nadia letzor yeshenu. Shiru, l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru, l'Adonai kol ha'aretz, shiru, l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru, 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 l'Adonai, shiru, l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru, לאדוני כל הארץ שירו, לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו, שירו, שירו לאדוני, שירו, לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו, לאדוני כל הארץ שירו, לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו, שירו, שירו לאדוני, לכל ארננו לאדוני.
We turn now to Lecha Dodi on page 20. We welcome in Shabbat with light. When we welcome in the presence of Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, we'll sing together paragraphs 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to 9, we rise, we turn to the door as if to greet the Shabbat presence.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה.
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, כי השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה.
בואי ושלום את תרד בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Lecha Dodi,
לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקרבה.
Please take an opportunity now that you're standing to go wish someone Shabbat Shalom, maybe introduce yourself to someone that you haven't met before. of opportunity, or we will have plenty of opportunity for more conversation after services. But it is my privilege to invite the chairs of the Cantor Search Committee, Karen Breen and Eric Schaefer.
Good evening. Well, I like that. When the Board of Trustees decided it was time for Rodef Shalom congregation to have its first ordained cantor, President Bill Battistone appointed a blue ribbon search committee. Karen and I want to recognize the members of the committee.
So when I say your name, please stand. Carl Harrop, Nancy Rosenthal, Killian Spitz-Cohan, Laura Swiss, Marcy Weinstein, and Sarah Wertheimer. And we want to give special recognition to Kate Kim, who along with a full plate with all her other staff duties, became the administrative coordinator for the committee.
Now, the process of engaging a cantor requires some serious self-reflection. The American Conference of Cantors told us, we challenge the committee to articulate a vision. And we came back with a vision that said, we wanted a cantor who could engage us as a professional and as a member of our congregational family, and whose voice would bring us joy even in routine encounters.
We recall the ACC's advice as we started out: find the person and then listen to the voice. Well, we found a mensch. And then we heard a truly gifted musician. While Cantor Glauser impressed us with his thoughtfulness and talent, it also was clear that he'd worked to understand Rodef Shalom and the Pittsburgh Jewish community, and his vision statement aligned closely with our own.
So the application form required us to complete the following sentence: we dream that our cantor will. So we filled it in. Our response was, our dream is that our new cantor will help us attain a greater sense of spirituality. And cantor, thank you for helping us realize our dream.
Today, more than a year later, we want to thank Cantor Glauser for making our committee look so good.
Now, Cantor, I want to tell you that Karen and I do have one concern. There is something that is missing. We saw the other night you were bicycling home. You didn't have a blinker. So, with this gift to you, Cantor, our committee's work is complete.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the blinker. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Safety first, yeah. Oh, I gotta get up again? Okay.
We continue on page 28. Please rise as you're able for Barchu.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yadai dai dai, yadai dai dai dai. Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah potech sha'arim, V'tbuna mishaneh itim, Machalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, ureyom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרבים.
Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם בלילה, באהבתך. אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated, and we continue on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day the nations will be one in peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Top of page 40, Micha Mocha.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Michamocha
Ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha, Yedar Ba'moesh, Nora Tehilo, Nor Seifele, Nora Tehilo, Nor Seifele. Ya la la la, ya la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
יעקב וגלום יד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Page 43.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from storms. Hashkivenu,
Hashkivenu
Adonai Eloheinu.
Eloheinu
Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu,
understanding among us.
Hashkivenu,
Be our shelter from life's
storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Baruch atah Adonai pores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. While we have that image in our minds of the shelter of peace, we turn to Hashkivenu on page 253. We think of all those who, in our family, our friends, members of our community who are in need of healing. Page 253. But the blessing is actually in two parts, and the first one is for all of us. And that one we have an opportunity to think about what it is that we need at this very moment to make our lives a blessing. We sing that first paragraph, and then we'll pause to share the names of all those who are in need of healing of body and spirit, and continue on with the second paragraph. So begin together in the middle of page 253. The Shabbat we hold in our hearts Ellen Apple, Julie Arnheim, Peggy Boone, Alex Botkin, Jerry Chesson, Arnold Davis, Barbara Davis, Chuck Davis, Eileen Davis, Joanne Mandel DeWitt, Melissa Fisher, Amanda Goldstein, Daniel Harrison, Kate Can, Naum Kaplan, Al Camper, Eitan Klausner, Audrey Lazar, Tony Linder, Sally Littman, Laura Marshak, Agnes McCulley, Hal Mendelowitz, Beatrice Jean Morrison, Ellen Newberg, Stephen Patterson, Charles Roberts, Susan Rosen, Charles Rosenblum, Cheryl Sachs Dowling, Oliver Scheibel, Benjamin F. Siegel, Dan Smith, Bill Stein, Rabbi Jonathan Stein, David Wallach, Jonathan Wind, Kayla Wright, James J. H. Yee, Hinda Sarah Bat Chana Pearl, Yaakov Yosef Zelig Ben Masha Leah, Sarah Bat Chana, Yermatia Shulamit Bat Miriam, Yisrael Asher Ben Perla Sima. Are there any other names for Misha Berach? Continue with the second paragraph of Misha Berach.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We turn back to page 44 at the top of the page and sing together V'shamru. Yismechu. Yismechu. So it's the bottom of the page.
Mixing it up.
Oh, that's what happens when you just don't look. You just think. Yismechu.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי יובל, עוני שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי יובל, עוני שבת. מקדש שבי מקדש שביעי שבת כל העם ישמעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקוראי עוני שבת
Shabbat, Chendat Yamim, Oto Karata Shabbat,
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עוני שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית זכר למעשה וראשית שומרי שבת וקורא עונג, עונג שבת.
All right, we turn to page 46. We will begin the tefillah together with this meditation on page 46, and then we'll continue on our own silently through page 142. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sefatai tifkach ufi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. לפניך.
Adonai Tzuri.
Adonai tzori.
Adonai Tzuri.
Adonai tzori. It is now my honor and joy to invite Cantor Shana Delor and Rabbi Benjamin Spratt to the Bima. I know that Rabbi Henry at the start mentioned, what she was looking for in a clergy partner, or what she'd found in a clergy partner, and being an intern under Cantor Delor and Rabbi Spratt taught me everything I could ever want to know about being a giving and being a good clergy partner and more. They are really just models of what great clergy can be, and I'm so honored that Sharon and myself have found such a wonderful partnership, and this is what I'm basing it on, so thank you so much for being here.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
We started our time 4 years ago with Toby in May of 2020 with those words. How good it is that we can gather together. The three of us, Rabbi Spratt and Cantor Glasser and I, gathered to sanctify Toby's cantorial ordination. It did not look like our gathering tonight. It was instead a Zoom room for three. Toby, you became a cantor at a moment unlike any other in the history of our people. The pandemic kept us all physically apart, forcing us to think creatively about how to stay close in other ways. Was it an ideal way to experience your ordination? No. But did you bring your best attitude and make the most of it, even when we gave you a hard time? Yes, you absolutely did. We were honored to be in that Zoom room with you 4 years ago, and we are overjoyed to be in this gorgeous actual room with you here tonight. We gather on this blessed night to celebrate your installation as cantor of this historic and magnificent congregation. As cantors, we are entrusted with the sacred task of leading our congregants and our congregations in prayer, with helping to lift the voices of the community in communal song, and with fostering deep and meaningful connections. We are meant to help connect people to one another, to our tradition, and to the divine. This may sound a bit overwhelming, to say the least, but luckily, these are all areas in which you excel. In the months since you have begun as cantor of Rodef Shalom, you have already made your cantorial mark on this community as their first full-time cantor. Toby, as you all know, is a special mix of talents, and you are enabled by your talents to do what so many in our field strive to do, the successful melding of tradition and innovation. You are steeped in the traditional education of your Australian upbringing, and yet you dove headfirst into American Reform tradition upon your arrival here. And the result was special, unique, you. A cantor who always finds ways to bring the different parts of your Jewish soul together. I think we should name it Chazanut with a drum. In my time working with you at another Rodef Shalom, one that's spelled correctly, by the way, in the years since then, I have seen you grow and stretch your talents on and off the bima. You're always seeking out ways to experience more, learn more, and do more. You are a true creator of community. When I picture you in my mind's eye, I see you at the center of the room, the one creating energy and atmosphere, making everyone feel a part of something bigger.
being the drumbeat that moves the crowd and keeping everyone moving in sync with you. You have a big heart and you're always thinking of the feelings and experiences of others. For me, Toby is a trusted friend and colleague, a true mensch. I often think back to the first Shabbat that I was back at work and leading prayer in Rodef Shalom in New York after the death of my father. When it came time for Mourner's Kaddish, Toby came and stood next to me. You didn't say a word, but you stood there, shoulder to shoulder with me until long after the prayer concluded. I'm not sure that I told you then how much I needed that, nor if I knew how much I needed that, or how much it meant to me, but I'm telling you now, so thank you. I recently had the chance to be part of another installation of one of our other beloved former cantorial students, and I was there on the bima with a teacher of ours, a beloved teacher named Cantor Benji Ellen Schiller. I loved something that she said, and I asked if it was okay if I quoted her tonight because it made me think of you and this night. She said, "Isn't the word installation a strange name for this ritual? We are not plugging you in. We can do better than this word. So how about installation? For you as cantor will instill within your congregation the sounds, the words, the teachings, the values of our people. We instill this moment with the recognition of what it means to welcome a new spiritual leader into this Kehila Kadosha, this holy congregation." So Toby, as you continue on in your cantorial journey, keep letting your gorgeous spirit and voice be a beacon of hope in times of darkness, a source of comfort in moments of sorrow, and one of celebration in times of joy. And always know that you do not walk this journey alone. You are supported by those who came before you, by this sacred community, and by your fellow clergy members, both near and far.
So a lore that goes through the Rodef Shalom in Manhattan, and I'm gathering goes through the lore of the Rodef Shalom here in Pittsburgh as well, is that once you find your way into these walls, you never really get to leave. So obviously Rabbi Henry has modeled this, even though I know you've already signaled that you're going to walk out these walls at some point. But a reminder to you, Toby, that just because you left one, you didn't really leave Rodef Shalom. And one of the things that I have learned over my time so far, being married to a cantor, being best friends with a cantor, is that cantors have an incredible capacity to transform the world, to see that at a time of fracture and division, sometimes it is as simple and profound as a group of people elevating their voices together that can realize a unity that was never there before. Imagine the way in which we can aspire towards the heavens and feel like there's a space big enough and deep enough to hold all of the feelings that we may have. And I've learned also over the years that the great power of a rabbi is to destroy all of that by announcing a page number. And so I wanted on your installation to share with you one of the first stories in our journey together and how I pretty much ruined, no, I shouldn't say that. I created a moment where our community got to see just how dazzling is this remarkable cantor. His first high holidays as our intern, we had tasked him with leading an entire space on his own of 600 plus people. And because we have 3 different spaces, all filled and clergy that rotate through them, one of the great legends of our Rodef Shalom is the high holiday flip of magically rabbis appearing out of nowhere at just the right time. It just happened to be that his first high holidays was our first high holidays using Mishkan and Nefesh, the Reform Movement's new high holiday prayer book. And we didn't really know what the timing was going to be like, and so I had sat with Toby and we'd planned out, okay, this is when I'm supposed to enter, and so be ready for this. Just in case I'm running a little late, be ready for this, and just in the odd, random chance that I'm a little bit even further delayed, be ready for this. I come downstairs a full half hour after that last emergency backdrop, and by that point, Toby has been forced to, on his own, take the Torah out of the ark, run it around the entire room while singing, and call up aliyah after aliyah of chanters, calling up honors left and right. And I walk in, seeing that we have already completed the Torah service, and I stand in silence, and the congregation erupts in applause for this remarkable person. And I lift up this story because for me, as a person who still struggles standing in front of a group of people, who still struggles feeling worthy of holding a space, in his first moments, he was forced to create, on the most holy and important day of the year, a reminder to people that whatever we bring to the table is enough, and that sometimes it is just the courage to step forward is one of the greatest lessons of leadership. And as a result, under his watch as our intern, it is no accident that we had wave after wave of people who came forward wanting to learn with him, to study with him, and to lead in his footsteps. And I wanted to share a story that links into a particular flavor and a particular spark of Cantor Glaser that I hold very near and dear to my heart. This is a story from about 1,700 years ago. There was a story in the town of Tzipori in northern Israel that a merchant came to town calling out the elixir of life, who wants it, the elixir of life. And the people of the town come out in the town square and they're surrounding this merchant wanting to buy the elixir of life. And Rabbi Yanai, one of the great rabbis of the time, he leans out of his study window, sees the merchant, sees everyone gathering and calls down, "Excuse me, sir, please come up to me. I'd like to buy what you're selling." And so the merchant comes up, knocks on the door, walks in, sees stacks of books and realizes that he's walked into a rabbi's study. And he says to Rabbi Yanai, "I'm sorry, what I'm selling you don't want." And Rabbi Yanai said, No, I assure you, this elixir of life, I want the elixir of life. Whatever it costs, I will pay. Please, give me the elixir of life. And so, shrugging his shoulders, the merchant takes a little satchel off his back and pulls out a thin volume of Tehillim, of the Psalms, and reads the line, Mi ha'ish hechafetz chaim. Who is the one who loves life? It's the one who turns their speech away from negativity and towards the positive, who shuns evil and pursues always goodness, reaching and striving always towards peace. And Rabbi Yanai said, I have read these words every day of my life, and it's only now that I realized I held in my hand the elixir of life. Every day I would see Toby, I would always check in and see, how are you holding up? How are you doing? And every day, Toby would answer like this, yeah. Now, I was born in Utah, and so I don't always pick up on all of the social scripts of everyone around me. But suddenly, as time went on, I started to realize that, yeah, could mean the reason why I'm standing here drenched and soaking wet and shivering is because I had a terrible day where I no longer had an umbrella, I didn't make the subway, and I was rushing to make my B'nai B'nai touring, and so I ran in the rain, and I'm drenched, and I'm tired, and I'm cranky. But, yeah. And I also realized that, yeah, could mean I just had one of the best days of my life. I had called out at cantorial school for being a star student. I got praise from my boss, from Cantor Delo, and I realized that everything seemed to be going well in the world. And no matter what was happening in his life or what was happening in the congregation, Toby always, with a smile on his face, would answer, yeah. I don't know if you still do it here. Yeah. And for all the stereotypes of Vegemite and rhubars and Barbies and things, it is interesting to realize that for me, from the man down under, I learned that the elixir of life is a choice that we bring to every moment. This is a person that I saw hold people in times of grief, in times of joy. A person who stood with me in times where I struggled, and a person who was willing to celebrate with me in times of joy. And I think about one of the great wisdoms of our tradition is that wisdom has always come from the margins. Our greatest of teachers have always been the ones willing to leave their home and wander in the world, as so goes our tradition. And for all that you have sacrificed and left behind in Melbourne, for all the distance that you have been forced to endure, for all the pain and loneliness that sometimes comes with that, Toby, you've chosen to respond to it by being the one who creates embrace, who leads with love, who reminds us that the elixir of life is measured in our capacity to move away from the complaints, the fractures, and believe in the way that our sparks, our heart, our spirits can have the capacity to knit the world together in drum, in music, in the most delicious accent under the sun. As one person who has sat at your feet to learn, it is an honor to be with your community that celebrates your leadership and to join so many in gratitude for being a beacon of the most important form of leadership, the ones that remind us that we are not alone in the world, that our voices matter, and that what we can do when woven together is an anthem of power in a world that needs hope. Mazal tov, my friend, and such an honor to be with you.
Yeah. I'm just pretty speechless. It was, ordination was quite moving, and I had a digital video when I was in San Francisco from these two wonderful folks, but to have them here in person with me in this congregation hasn't really happened since, I guess, early 2020. So to have your voices and just have your neshamot, have your souls here is incredible. I'm just so touched by your words, and thank you so much. And I guess half or a great deal of my success here has been because of Rabbi Henry, and if she hadn't been so welcoming and so gracious and uplifted me and really just kind of given me a place to be here and to shine and to see me for who I am, I wouldn't have been able to be here and to be successful as your cantor. So thank you so much to Rabbi Henry for just being such an incredible partner in prayer. I wanted to sing something, and then I wanted to say something. So I thought I would let the words of our liturgy do some talking, and then I'll say a few words afterwards. The text is on page 56 if you'd like to follow along. Would Shabbat Shalom, everyone. That's a setting of the Ritzei prayer. It's one of the prayers in our Amidah. For me, one of the really beautiful pieces of Chazanut. But when we look at the prayer closely, or when I look at the prayer closely, it comes to embody key underpinnings of my Jewish faith and the role of the cantor. The words of the prayer allude to a time when the worship experience was based around animal sacrifice. According to tradition, the priests of the temple would recite the Ritzei, that these sacrifices be acceptable to God, and they would continue with the Modim, with the prayer giving thanks, and finally the Birkat Shalom. These three prayers still end our daily Amidah today. In modernity, unless there's really a particularly fancy kiddush with brisket and corned beef, we don't really think of the animal slaughter part of worship. And yet the word remains in our Siddur, yet these words remain. In place of this kind of visceral ritual sacrifice of an animal, we instead offer our words of prayer and devotion and our aspirations to elevate our holiness and community through this poetry. For me, the Ritzei represents three distinct pillars of my theology and my chosen vocation. First and foremost, the prayer represents innovation and evolution. Just as our worship evolved from sacrifice to song, Jewish practice and the cantorial craft is an ever-evolving entity. Cantors meet the needs of their communities for modern worship, educating them in Jewish history and infusing new and old melodies with continued relevance and power. It is the cantor's role to serve their community by being the vessel of continued liturgical relevance and spiritual connection. As your cantor, I promise to respect and honor your musical traditions while also elevating new composers to sing new songs in a new land and old songs which connect us to our joint Jewish history. Secondly, the Ritzei represents the democratization of Judaism. The prayers which were previously reserved for the temple priesthood became words which were recited by the whole community of Israel. The Ritzei prayer represents a Judaism based on the needs of the Jewish community rather than a ruling priestly class. As your cantor, I promise to lead with you, to listen to your opinions and needs, and to make decisions in the best interests of the community. I promise to empower those who wish to sing, thank you so much to our wonderful Rodef choir, and those who have not yet found their voices. Being the first ordained cantor here means serving the needs of all who call Rodef Shalom home. At least in Pittsburgh. New York, you can do your own thing. Finally, the Ritzei prayer represents Jewish continuity and a love of Judaism. That we still have these words in our Siddur shows the power of our heritage and tradition. For me, this is a setting which I sang at my final recital in cantorial school, surrounded by colleagues and friends, channeling the power of prayer. It's a setting which I studied with numerous cantors, both living and dead. It's a setting which holds deep personal meaning for me, and yes, a deep love. The Ritzei prayer represents a true love of Jewish liturgy, and my connection to this melody and words is enduring and unbreakable. I promise to educate you, your children, your grandchildren, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, cousins, whoever, in all that prayer and Jewish practice entails. Rabbi Jill Jacobs writes of the words in the Ritzei, Lidvir Beitecha, or God's inner sanctuary, that we pray for access to the innermost reaches of the divine realm, for the most intimate relationship with God. Yet this intimacy is not silence. The word Devir connects to Devar, or word. In the Devir, God hears our voice, and we hear that of the divine. As your cantor, I promise to explore these innermost reaches of the divine with you, to delve into spiritual meaning and Jewish practice together, and continue to build a strong and lasting Jewish future for the Rodef Shalom congregation, not in silence, but in song. Shabbat Shalom.
Cantor Glaser, echoing the very words of wisdom that you just offered, what once was the place of position and power held by only a few. The real dream from Moses was that all of God's people would be prophets. All would find their voices and to come forward. And one of the great blessings the priesthood would bestow has since become words that we can access for everyone. And the hope is that we as a community can offer this blessing together. So, with your permission, Rabbi Henry, I want to invite the community to please rise as you're able. And with Rabbi Henry, with Cantor Delo, with your incredible choir, with Dawn, with this entire community, to feel these words rippling from generation to generation, words of blessing that not only infuse your heart and soul, we hope also words that you will bring forward for all of us to see, the way that we can stand beside you in song and prayer.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God keep you safe. May you feel safe. And may you feel cared for and cared about.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May you feel God's face shining upon you, and in your own soul, see the faces of everyone around you blazing because of you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom.
And as you raise your eyes and see in the faces around you your community of belonging, your home of belonging, may you in turn feel that you carry the mantle, shouldered by Rabbi Henry and the generations of leadership before you, to see this as a community in its namesake that envisions a world of Shalom and Shlemut, of peace and of wholeness, and to see that together we are woven in search and pursuit of that destined vision of the future. May you embody Rodef Shalom, and may you inspire all of us to join you in love and comfort and hope.
Say together, Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will. Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. Well, we did hear that rabbis ruin the movement by announcing page numbers. So thank you for that, Rabbi Spread. We turn to page 282 for Aleinu. Please remain standing.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גנולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Kaddish is on page 294. Please remain standing as you're able. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. Excuse me. Within the last week, Tommy Hoffman, Toby Shimkin, who's the stepmother of Gary Sorak, and Susan Lother, who are his friend and teacher. Within the last 30 days, Barbara Rosenbach. We also remember those who died at this season in years past, and whose yahrzeit we observe on this Shabbat. Celeste Barrand, Dorothy Bortz, Milton Fine, Meyer Goldfarb, Norman Gurin, Dr. Jerome Jerry Hantman, Edwin Hepner, Sylvia Horn, Janet Krieger, Barnetta Lang, Florence Linkiski, Mimi Lerner, Bernard Sonny Levine, Tessie Lippard, Rose Maggio, Anna Mandel, Maxine Marcus, Mildred Oppenheimer, Isaac Protet, B. Schaefer, Benjamin R. Siegel, Shirley Silverman, Paula Smolar, Eileen M. Swartz, Harry Ziff. Other names for yahrzeit for Kaddish? Yeah. Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for blessing. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrach urtei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon, u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavarach v'olam umei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh, Vita dar, vita le, vita lal, shmei de kudasha berchu. Leila amin kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Ehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, v'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'imru amen. You may be seated. It's very easy to see why you, Toby, why Cantor Glasser appreciates so much and sees these two wonderful people as mentors. We are so grateful to have had you here tonight. We're so happy for Toby, but we're also happy for ourselves, because what a pleasure it was to be able to learn from and to rejoice with and to celebrate with Rabbi Spratt, with Cantor Delow. I know there's going to be a lot of thank yous afterward, but I just want to make sure I said those because it really is wonderful to see how you interact with Toby and to know that you've known him through the years. What a wonderful thing for all of you. So it's my privilege now to invite the president of our congregation, Bill Battistone, to the bima.
Good evening. My name is Bill Battistone, and I have the pleasure of serving Rodef Shalom congregation as president of our Board of Trustees. When I was originally asked to share some remarks this evening, I got very excited because I thought this was kind of like a roast thing. Like I could tell some funny, embarrassing stories, we could all have a laugh. Apparently, an installation is not a roast. I found that out. So Cantor, perhaps later tonight, over a drink and dinner, I can tell you some of the material that didn't make the cut. It sounds like I have some things to talk to Rabbi Platt about as well. Maybe him and I can share some stories. But as Eric Schaefer and Karen Breen already mentioned this evening, when we originally laid out our plan to bring an ordained cantor to be a part of our senior clergy, I must confess that I was not sure how this would all work out. When you try something new, I think it's natural to have some anxiety and doubt. But you have to trust that if you have a firm commitment to a strong process, the result will take care of itself. In honor of the Pirates' opening day yesterday, it was our own Field of Dreams moment. Build it, and they will come. Side note, Cantor, I'm committing right now in front of the entire congregation that I will make you a Pittsburgh Pirates fan before the end of summer. The problem is he's too happy, too many positive vibes. It's time you get some of the self-inflicted misery that we Pirate fans have to deal with. Time to bring you down a couple notches, get you into the buckos. Cantor, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to congratulate you on becoming the first cantor in Rodef Shalom's esteemed history. I cannot think of a better person to hold such an honor, and I consider myself extremely lucky to work alongside you in this capacity. As evidenced by the people who have traveled to be with us this evening from far away, to the amount of Rodef Shalom congregants and people from our community that have joined us tonight, we're so very excited to have you. I also just have to say, Cantor Delotte, when you were singing up here with Toby, my wife pretty much cried the entire time tonight because it's just so evident the pride that you felt, and I thought that was just an extremely powerful experience for all of us, just to see you looking at him and being so proud of him in that moment. It was really meaningful, so thank you for being with us tonight. To all of us in the room and watching online at home, as we formally welcome Cantor Gloucester to Rodef Shalom, let all of us pledge our unwavering support and appreciation for his dedication, commitment, and service to our congregation. Together with Rabbi Henry, let us continue to build a community rooted in Jewish values and tradition, community service, endless empathy, and inclusivity. Cantor Gloucester, it is my hope that you find your time with Rodef Shalom to be full of blessing and joy, as you have already brought so much of both of those things to us. I look forward to seeing all that you can create on your own in your new home city. In true Pittsburgh fashion, I am legally required to end my remarks with a Mr. Rogers quote. When asked what it meant when Mr. Rogers would say, "Won't you be my neighbor?" he responded, "I suppose it's an invitation. Won't you be my neighbor? It's an invitation for someone to become close to you." Welcome, Cantor Gloucester, and we're so proud that you are our neighbor. Mazel tov, and thank you.
You can sit back down.
I can sit back down, okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to have you stand up in a moment. Again, thank you, Rabbi Spratt and Cantor Delotte. Thank you to the Rodef Shira Choir, Karen and Eric, for everything that you did to bring Cantor Gloucester to us. Bill, it's really nice. We need to thank Luke, because Luke up in the balcony, because Luke has been, he's been with us during this whole service, but as you'll see in a moment, he's also done some additional work. They'll help us with our celebration, and all of the staff has been involved in making tonight what we hope will be a suitable welcome for someone that we're just so excited to have among us. I was telling Rabbi Spratt before about the Pittsburgh notion of neighborhood and neighborliness, and so as a gift from the congregation to you, we have your ordination certificate, your smicha, framed so that you will feel at home when you put it up on the, he had never had it framed before, imagine that. that you'll feel, you put it up on the wall in your office, and you'll feel that Rodef Shalom in Pittsburgh are your home, because we're just so glad to have you with us. So after services, we have a beautiful Erev Shabbat sponsored by Women of Rodef Shalom in honor of Cantor Glaser. And we have a video now that we'd like to share. It comes from, you should go down and see it. So this is from our youngest students, the children in our family center. Page.
Congregation Rodef Shalom of Manhattan to Rodef Shalom Congregation of Pittsburgh, congratulations. May it be a wonderful experience. May you lead them in peace. May you provide comfort in our times of sorrow. And may you breed all of the celebration that this world needs for all of the Jews in your community. So excited for you. Shabbat Shalom.
That was, I don't know his last name, but I still don't know it.
Yukano. Cantor Stefano Yukano.
Cantor Stefano Yukano, who is the assistant cantor at Rodef Shalom in Manhattan, and he was Toby's best friend in rabbinical school, cantoral school, and he couldn't be here because you're here, so I thought,
Someone has to watch the shop.
Yeah, so I thought, well, maybe we'll do the next best thing, and we'll bring him here by video.
Thank you so much. It was really a joy. Thank you.
And also, we really need to thank Paige, because Paige Hoffman is our office manager. And if we didn't have Paige, we wouldn't have anything here tonight, so thank you so much to Paige.
I did just want to extend a special thank you to the Rodef Shira Choir as well, because you sound fantastic, and we've had them 2 weeks in a row now, so they've been on kind of double duty, and they've been doing great, and you sound glorious, so thank you for being the wonderful people that you are and joining us in song.
Continue. Here she goes again with the page number on page 5 with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Our closing song is Oseh Shalom, page 343.
Oseh Shalom במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Oseh Shalom במרומה, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tefillah, ve'imru Amen. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 Oseh Shalom במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Did it.